What's going on, guys? Not Timmy here today, coming at you with a tutorial for Scuf controllers and Elite controllers. For those of you that don't know what a Scuf or an Elite controller is, they are a regular controller that offers paddles on the back, which you can remap your face buttons to allow for an advancement in your gameplay. In my opinion, having paddles is essential if you want to advance your gameplay to the next level. So today I have a nice 11 kill duos gameplay for you guys. Then I will talk about the advantages of having the paddles. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. First and foremost, when it comes to having a controller, you have to decide what exactly you want in your controller. There's many different models offered of Scuf and Elite controllers, ranging from 2 paddles to 4 paddle models. Personally, I use a 4 paddle model as I believe it offers the most benefit to your gameplay. An Xbox Elite controller comes standard with 4 paddles. However, the paddles are lined up a little differently than a Scuf controller is. The paddles are on top of each other, whereas a Scuf controller, the paddles are kind of side by side across the back of the controller. It's up to you to decide which of those layouts you think you would prefer the most. Personally, I think the Scuf layout is a lot more comfortable than the Elite layout, but that's just my personal opinion. Something might suit you guys differently. So, I also won't lie to you guys, it is very difficult getting started with paddles at first. It's very frustrating because it's almost like learning the game all over again from the start. I highly recommend jumping into a playground or a creative match by yourself when you first start to get the feel for the controller and the paddles. It feels different than a regular controller. You might even have to lower your sensitivity a little bit. I had to lower mine a little bit when I got the controller because it just has a totally different feel to it than a regular controller. So it's really important that you start on a playground and not in a public match, because your first layout of your paddles might not be the layout you're most comfortable with. You want to hop on a playground, mess around with it, see if you like the way that it's set up. And if you don't like the way that it comes set up, that is perfectly fine, because all of these controllers offer you a way to remap your paddles to the layout that you would prefer. For me, when I started, I did not like the layout that I made the first time. I made it, played a day with it. It wasn't comfortable for me, excuse me. So on day 2, I actually changed it over to a different layout, and that was what I became comfortable with, and I stuck with that, and I haven't changed it since. So now tips for picking your paddle layout. If you have a 4 paddle layout, I would recommend the paddles that you make for your jump and build be the paddles that your middle fingers rest on. Those are going to be your 2 main actions, so it's really important that you have those ready to go to allow for the fastest possible reaction time. If your fingers aren't resting on your jump and your build, you're going to have to move your fingers over to your other paddle, which is going to be a split second later than having it on your resting position, which could mean the difference in fights against a really good player. If you have 2 paddles, definitely map your jump and your build to those paddles. There's no other way that you should do it. Those are going to be, like I said, your 2 most important movements and functions throughout the game. So going from 0 paddles to 4 paddles is, it's definitely a process, and there's definitely a lot to learn. If you're struggling with using your face buttons at first instead of using your paddles, I recommend that you go into your Fortnite control settings and you unmap the button that you're struggling with. For example, if you keep pushing circle or B for your build, go into your Fortnite controls, unmap circle or B, and put build on right as the D-pad, or right on the D-pad, excuse me, because that doesn't serve any function in the game. And then map that D-pad to the paddle that you want to use to build. This will allow you to use that paddle to build, but when you hit the face button, it doesn't reward you with still building. So it really forces you to get used to using the paddles instead of the actual face buttons. That was actually a good little tip my friend Dan told me about, so shout out to him for that. So to sum everything up, guys, don't be afraid to switch your controls around at first. Like I said, it's a process. You definitely might not be comfortable with your first layout. If you're still struggling, unbind that key and put that function on a paddle in the back. And most important, practice on playground. Practice, practice, practice. Practice makes perfect. Just stay focused and it will come to you guys. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below if this video helped you guys. Thank you.